A dark moon floated in the cold space between stars. It had no name, no lights, no signals, only silence. But deep beneath its black surface, something was happening. A long metal door opened. 12 figures stepped into a round chamber. Each one came from a different world. Their ships had arrived in complete silence, hidden from satellites, hidden from all eyes. Even their own empires didn't know they were here. The chamber lit up with a pale blue glow. The walls were smooth, the air cold. In the center of the room, a tall figure waited. It stood in silence until everyone had taken their seats. And it spoke. They grow stronger, the voice said, slow, deep, metallic, and we all feel it. No one replied, but many eyes turned toward the center. We must end them. The voice continued, before they become what we fear. Still, the chamber was silent. Finally, one alien leaned forward. Her face was long and sharp, with silver skin and burning red eyes. She was known as Commander Vikra of the Selnari Swarm. She spoke calmly. You speak of humans, again. They are no longer a small matter, another said. His voice was low and angry. He belonged to the Drakari Empire, a warlike race of beasts. My fleet lost a cruiser near their border last week. It vanished, no trace. Another counselor raised a hand. He wore a glass helmet, full of glowing mist. His voice came from a machine. You lost a ship. I lost a planet. My people lived on Yorex too. It was small, peaceful, not even near Earth. They were wiped out. Every signal went dark. No proof humans did it. Someone muttered. Then the center figure waved his hand. The walls lit up. A video began. It showed a planet. Alien soldiers, tall, armored, with claws, rushed toward a city. A human city. They were many. The humans were few, but the humans did not run. They moved quickly, calmly, like they had done this 100 times. One by one, the invaders fell. Human drones moved through smoke like shadows. Their bullets made no sound. Their machines had no lights. Every shot was perfect. Within minutes, the alien force was gone. The video ended. Silence filled the room again. They fight like machines, said Vikra. But they are not machines. They are worse, another added. They feel, they adapt, and they never kneel. The leader in the center took a slow breath. There are 12 of us here. We rule most of the known galaxy. Our fleets are large, our weapons ancient, but still we fear them. One species, one planet. Why? No answer. Then someone new spoke. He was old, with cracked skin and empty eyes. His voice was soft. I fought in the First Contact War, he said. I saw Earth. I saw what they did. All eyes turned to him. We thought they were weak, divided, but in war, they became something else. They broke their own cities just to trap us. They burned their own lands to stop us. We never understood it. They call it sacrifice. He looked down. We ran. We left. And we told our people that humans were nothing. But we lied. We were afraid. The room stayed quiet for a long time. Then the central figure spoke again. We must act before they unite all their colonies. Before they finish building that fleet near Saturn. Before they wake the sleeper ships. One voice interrupted. It was sharp, cold. You speak as if they are already gods. No, the leader said. I speak as if they are becoming gods. And we are still looking the other way. A hologram appeared. It showed Earth, spinning quietly, peaceful, a blue and green world full of life. Around it were rings of defense platforms, silent cruisers, and orbital guns. Farther out, small colonies glowed with heat and metal. But the screen zoomed farther, and then something strange happened. Between Saturn and Neptune, there was a dark spot, big, unmoving, hidden from sensors. What is that? Someone asked. No. One knows, the leader replied. But the humans keep sending materials there. Ships go in, but never come out. They're building something, said a counselor. Yes, the leader agreed. And we have no time left. Arguments exploded. Strike now. No, wait. Study them more. They will kill us all if we act too late. They might kill us if we act at all. The room shook with noise and fear. Even the walls seemed to hum. Finally, the leader raised a hand. Vote. The lights dimmed out. Each of the 12 placed a single vote. A beam of red or green light left their chair and floated into the air. Slowly, the lights formed a circle. 10 red, 2 green. The decision was clear. A united strike. Against humanity. Against Earth, Mars, the moons. The hidden place near Neptune. It was war. But far in the shadows of the room, one small shape moved. No. One saw it. It was not alien. It was not part of the council. It was a human-made recorder drone. And it had heard everything. It vanished into the vent system, silent, fast, and invisible. Its tiny engines made no sound. In less than 20 minutes, it reached a hidden ship cloaked outside the moon's surface. Inside that ship, one human soldier waited. She had a scar across her face and eyes like steel. The drone landed on her hand and showed her the recording. She watched, slowly, calmly. Then she turned and activated her comms. Send it to command, she said. They're coming. She leaned back in her seat and smiled. They finally chose war. And far away on Earth alarms began to sound, but not out of panic, out of preparation. Humanity had waited. They had watched. They had warned. Now, it was time to answer. With silence, with shadows, and with fire. It started with a whisper. From Earth. Not from any known ship or colony, but the message came. And when it did, it stopped the entire galaxy for a moment. Every warship, every command post, every comm station, the same signal hit them all. Blank screen, black. Then white letters appeared. We warned you. No voice, no threat, no demand. Just those 3 words. And then the screen went dark. Again, confusion spread like fire. Admirals shouted for trace logs. Commanders checked satellites. Some believed it was a prank. Others thought it was a hack. But when the signal reached the Galactic Council's war room, no one laughed. High above a gas giant, the Council's battle fortress floated in orbit. Inside, the 12 leaders from the silent meeting gathered again. The air was colder this time. It's a trick, one of them said. Just words. No, said Vikra, her silver eyes glowing. They knew. Knew what? Another asked. That we voted. They all went quiet. The message had come barely 1 hour after the secret vote. There was no leak, no transmission. No one had even returned home yet. Yet, somehow, the humans already knew. Someone whispered, Are we sure they didn't send it? The lead technocrat answered quickly, his voice shaking. I checked. The message has no point of origin. It didn't come from a ship or a planet. It just appeared. How? A voice demanded. I don't know. Panic began to rise. And in the corner of the room, the old war veteran sat with his hands folded. His voice came like wind over stone. You think they use only machines. But humans build other weapons. Quiet ones. Patient ones. He looked up slowly. Spies, saboteurs. Someone scoffed. No one can spy on the council. Not here. The old man smiled without joy. They just did. At the same moment. Across the galaxy, the same message appeared again. Not on screens this time, but in ship logs, data cores, even printed inside engineering manuals. We warned you. It was as if the words were everywhere now. Buried in places they should not. Be hidden in old systems. Whispered across secure lines. One fleet admiral panicked and ordered a purge of all files on his flagship. 5 minutes later, the ship's AI shut down the engines. It sent him one final message before the lights died. You chose this. He was never heard from again. The galaxy was no longer laughing. On a quiet farming planet called Jorix 3, a young alien boy found something strange under a broken tree. It was small, metal, and it blinked softly. He showed it to his father. Within an hour, a ship arrived, not from their world, but from the outer systems. Soldiers in black armor took the object. They never said who they worked for, but one of them whispered to the father, If you find another one, don't touch it. Don't even look. All across the stars, small things began to appear. Things But no humans were seen. Not yet. Inside a warbase orbiting Kelvernine. Admiral Dran looked at the reports with growing fear. He was a hard soldier, a killer. But even he felt his chest grow tight. The humans hadn't attacked. They hadn't moved fleets. They hadn't spoken. But their silence screamed louder than any weapon. His second in command, a young officer with pale skin and trembling hands, asked, "Should we delay the strike?" "No," Dran said. "It's too late now." "They know. We finish this before they respond." He turned to the screen. A 3D map of Sol system glowed in red. Earth, Mars, the moons, the station fields. Send the fleets in. Which target first? Dran stared for a long time. Then he pointed at Mars. Their colony. Hurt them. Make them bleed. Maybe then they'll start begging. But another voice, cold and sharp, echoed from behind. They won't. Everyone turned. It was Counselor Neither, leader of the Zavari hive. His skin was bone-white and smooth like stone. "I studied them for 30 years, he said. "They do not beg. They adapt. They bury their fear. And then they strike." Admiral Dran laughed. Dryly, "Then we end them before they strike back." Neither did not laugh. He leaned forward. "You don't end humans. You only push them." Across the galaxy, a storm was building. Fleets prepared. Weapons charged. Drones swarmed into launch bays. Thousands of alien warships began to move. And still, Earth said nothing. But deep beneath the oceans of Europa, in a hidden base carved into ice and stone, a human general stood in front of a long black table. Around him, other commanders waited. He looked at the message playing on the table, the message the Alien Council had received. "We warned you." He nodded slowly. "So they voted." One of the other humans asked, "Should we call the colonies?" "They..." General shook his head. "They already know." Another voice asked, "Do we attack now?" The general looked up. His face was hard. His eyes cold. "No." He walked to the far end of the room and opened a long case. Inside was a key. He held it. "For a moment, let them come." He turned and faced his officers. "When they land, when they burn our colonies, when they think they've won." He placed the key into a locked port. "We show them what Earth truly built." And far beyond Neptune, inside a dark field of frozen metal and black reactors, a sleeping machine began to wake. Its eyes glowed red. Its voice cracked through silence. Command accepted. The first planet went silent at midnight. No distress call. No gunfire. No lights in the sky. It simply stopped answering. Yora 5 was a mining world, home to over 200,000 workers. Ships came and went every day. It had orbital towers, defense cannons, and deep core scanners. But now, nothing. A scout ship was sent to check. It arrived 7 hours later. Everything looked normal at first. The atmosphere was calm. Buildings stood untouched. Mining towers still hummed, but there were no people, not a single life form. The crew landed in silence. They walked through the main colony. They found warm meals on tables, tools dropped mid-task, chairs knocked over. No signs of attack. No blood. No broken doors. Just absence. As if everyone had simply vanished. The captain of the scout ship sent a short message back to High Command. No bodies. No survivors. No answers. Then they left the surface. Quiet. Nervous. They never made it back. The next day, their ship was found drifting in orbit. Empty. The message log showed nothing after takeoff. Only one file remained. It had no name, just a video with one frame. A blurry shape in the fog. Tall, thin, human. But not human. And under it, scratched into the digital screen, "This is the first." Panic began to spread. 5 days later, another planet went dark. Zari Prime, a trade hub with over 80,000 citizens, fully armed defense grid, high-speed warp gate, gone. All messages stopped in the middle of a sentence. The last transmission. They're not ships. They're shadows. More scouts were sent. None returned. Across the council fleets, fear took hold. Generals ordered all outer systems to activate their weapons. Governors locked down planets. It did not matter. Every night, another world vanished. Not destroyed, not bombed. Just empty. No explosions, no screams, only silence. The alien council gathered again, but this time not in secret. They met inside the war chamber aboard the central fortress, each one furious, confused, and afraid. "These are human attacks," shouted one. "No ships have been seen," shouted another. "They are using a new weapon, something we've never faced." Counselor Vikra stood slowly. "No, they are not using a weapon." She raised a hand, and the lights dimmed. A screen played the last recovered audio file from Zari Prime. A voice, soft, close, human. It said only 2 words. "You started." Then static. One of the council members slammed the table. "This is madness. We declared war. They have not fired a single shot back." The old war veteran spoke again. "That is their shot." "What do you mean?" Another asked. The veteran looked around. "When you give humans time, they don't panic. They prepare." He looked at each of them, one by one. When they're silent, it means they're ready. Reports began flooding in. Patrol ships near the Terran border saw strange lights moving through asteroid fields. Stealth signals. Something cloaked. Entire communication networks were being hijacked by invisible code. AI systems began shutting down. And always, the same message appeared before collapse. "Still your choice." Meanwhile, on a small desert moon, a group of soldiers discovered a strange bunker. No doors, no power. But one signal was still active inside. They forced it open. Inside, they found a single figure, a human soldier, alive, standing still, wearing black armor with no emblems. He was not breathing. He was not blinking. One alien stepped closer, and the soldier's head snapped toward him. He whispered something. The translator didn't understand, but the alien's eyes went wide, and he ran. The other soldiers tried to capture the human, but the moment they touched him, a pulse of energy swept through the bunker. When the recovery team arrived later, the moon had a crater where the facility used to be. And in the center, only a mark burned into stone. Strike 3. Back in the council chamber, chaos ruled. "They are ghosts. They are killing us with silence. Why don't they fight? Use openly?" Vikra stood again. "They already are." She turned to the stars outside. "They warned us. We didn't listen." She whispered, "And now, one by one, we are going dark." Thousands of ships were activated. Massive fleets gathered near the Terran border. New war machines, old planet breakers, all ready. But the fear had already spread among the soldiers, among the leaders. They wondered, why hasn't Earth answered us yet? And somewhere in deep space, on the edge of blackness, a human ship moved through the dark. Small, silent. Inside, a man sat alone, his face calm, his eyes steady. He whispered into the quiet, "They're starting to understand." And far away, inside a hidden Terran command bunker, a screen flickered. On it, dozens of red dots blinked. Each one a planet that no longer responded. A voice said, "Phase 1 complete." Then came the order, "Wait the sleepers." The ice moon was quiet. Cold winds moved across the white plains. Nothing lived here. Nothing moved, or so they thought. The rescue ship landed with a soft thud. Its lights cut through the snowstorm. Alien soldiers stepped out, weapons ready. Their orders were clear. Investigate the emergency signal. The beacon had come from this moon. No one knew how. No colonies were registered here. No ships were logged in the system. Yet the signal repeated every hour. One word: help. Inside the command cabin, Captain Vex of the Kalari Guard stared at the frozen land. He was tired, angry, and cold. "We give this planet 15 minutes, he said. "If there's nothing, we leave." The soldiers fanned out. They searched through broken ice, deep cracks, and frozen rock. And then one of them found it. "Captain," came the voice through the comms. "You need to see this." He rushed over. They had found a hatch. Old, rusted, human markings, buried under 10 feet of solid ice. The team began cutting through. It took 6 minutes to open. The hatch hissed. Cold mist poured out. Stairs led down into blackness. They descended. Slowly, carefully. At the bottom, they found a room. It was small, metallic, covered in frost. In the center was a cryopod. A child lay inside. Human. She looked no older than 10. Her face was calm. Her eyes were closed. Her hands rested on her chest. Alive. How is this possible? One soldier asked. This moon is uninhabited. Captain Vex stepped forward, scanned the pod. No explosives, no traps, no power. The cryopod had survived on passive energy. Impossible. For this long? Vex reached out and touched the glass. The child opened her eyes. Everyone jumped back. Her gaze was clear, calm, like she wasn't surprised. Then she spoke. Only one sentence. They're already here. Alarm screamed in the rescue ship above. Systems shut down. Engines died. Comes. Fell silent. Captain Vex yelled into his comlink. What's happening? No answer. Then the sound came. Footsteps. But not normal. Heavy, slow. Many. The soldiers raised their weapons. Shadows moved in the icy hallway above. The child inside the pod kept staring at them. Calm. Not afraid. Who are you? One soldier whispered. The child whispered back. You woke them. A loud crash shook the bunker. From above, something cut through the ceiling. A black machine dropped down. No lights, no face. Just a smooth, armored body with 2 arms and long legs. Its hands turned into blades. Then another dropped. And another. The black machines stood still for 1 second. Then moved. Fast. Silent. The first soldier screamed before his body hit the wall. The others fired, but the bullets did nothing. Captain Vex grabbed the child's pod and tried to open it. The child reached up and placed her hand on the glass. The pod opened slowly. She stepped out. The machines stopped. Captain Vex stared at the girl. She looked at him with eyes older than time. You shouldn't have come here, she said softly. Then the machines turned and walked away, back into the dark. Captain Vex fell to his knees. The bunker began to shake. The walls cracked. The ice above started falling. The girl walked to the stairs. Wait, Vex called. What are you? She looked back. Bait. She vanished into the storm. When the recovery team arrived days later, they found nothing. No bodies. No cryo pod. No soldiers. Only a burned mark on the ice floor. Phase 2. Ghost protocol active. Back at the Galactic Council base, the footage from the ship's black box was played. Every leader watched it in silence. Vikra whispered. She was waiting for them. No, said the old war veteran. They were waiting for us. Then what was she? A test, he said, to see if we would take the bait. And we did. Across the galaxy, news of the ice moon spread. Now no one wanted to land on unmarked worlds. No one trusted emergency signals. The humans didn't need fleets anymore. They had fear. They had silence. They had made the galaxy turn against its own shadow. And far beyond Saturn, a massive station lit up. Inside, rows of stasis pods began opening. Not children. Not soldiers. Something else. Something trained. Something bred in total silence. And above them, a single line of text appeared on a black screen. Project Revenant awakened. Mars burned. Red dust flew high into the sky as bombs fell. Alien warships filled the air, their cannons lighting up the night. Human defenses fired back, but they were few. Outnumbered, outgunned. The alien council had finally launched their grand assault Operation Glassfire. Their fleets came from all sides. Over 500 ships, armed with every weapon known to the galaxy. Plasma cutters, ion storms, kinetic spears. They threw everything at Mars. It looked like victory. At first, Admiral Dran stood on the bridge of his flagship, smiling coldly as explosions lit up the Martian colonies below. His second in command walked up beside him. No resistance from the southern domes, the officer said. Central defense towers are down. Human fleets scattered. Casualties heavy. Dran nodded slowly. Good. Earn their pride. Break their will. Make Earth listen. Another officer shouted from the side. We found their command center. It's under the Vallis Ridge, requesting permission to strike. Dran raised a hand. No, not yet. I want it taken intact. He stared at the screen showing burning human cities. They need to see what defeat looks like. But below, in the heart of Mars, inside that same command center, General Rourke watched the alien ships move like vultures above his world. He did not look afraid. He looked ready. A younger officer beside him whispered, "Sir, they're not just attacking. They're leveling entire zones." Rourke said nothing. His eyes remained on the screen. One by one, colonies were marked with red X's. Lives lost. Buildings destroyed. Another voice came through the comms. "General, this is Commander Illyra at Outpost 3. We've been hit hard. Most of our weapons are gone. Orders?" Rourke finally spoke. "Hold position. Let them come." "Sir, you heard me." He stood up and walked across the room to a steel case. He opened it slowly. Inside, a black keycard. He slid it into a slot near the wall. The floor rumbled. A panel opened, revealing an old terminal. On it, 2 words blinked. "Activate glassfire?" He pressed yes. Suddenly, in orbit, several alien ships picked up a strange heat signature coming from beneath the Martian surface. One commander frowned. "What is that? A reactor?" "No, sir." "It's something else." In that moment, the sands of Mars split open. And from deep underground, cannons rose, huge ancient railguns, hidden, buried for decades. Each one over 80 meters long. They fired. The first alien cruiser exploded before it could scream. Then the second. Then the third. Dozens of hidden human defense towers emerged all across the Martian deserts. Stealth drones, black, silent, launched from craters that were never on any map. They flew straight into enemy engines. Alien fleets began to panic. Admiral Dran shouted. "Where did those come from?" "They were underground, sir. We didn't detect them." Dran slammed his fist against the console. Trickery, human lies. But below, inside the command center, General Rourke was already preparing the next phase. Open the vault doors. He ordered. Giant steel slabs lifted near Olympus Mons, revealing black hangars under the mountain. Out flew the Titan units. Massive walking machines, taller than buildings, covered in armor, each one powered by nuclear cores and armed with rail cannons and shock blades. They began to march toward the alien drop zones. Alien tanks opened fire. The Titans didn't stop. They crushed the invaders. Beneath their feet. Each step they took shook. The ground. Above, Admiral Dran's face turned pale. "We underestimated them. They lured us in, sir. They let us win." He stared at the screen as hundreds of alien ships exploded in fire. "No," he whispered. This was the plan. Back on Earth, deep inside a war room hidden below Antarctica, human commanders watched the battle from a live feed. One of them chuckled. "Phase 3 complete," she said. "Operation Glassfire worked? Better than expected." Another officer turned. "Should we send reinforcements?" "No. Let them run. Let them report what they saw." Back on Mars, Admiral Dran gave the order to retreat. Only 41 ships made it out alive. All others burned in Martian fire. On their way out, one alien ship picked up a strange transmission on an old human channel. It was a voice, calm, cold. "You came to glass us." A pause. "We buried fire for that reason." Then silence. The galaxy heard what happened. The council held an emergency meeting. No one spoke for a long time. Hikra finally said, "This war is not like the others." The old veteran nodded. "They wanted us to attack Mars." "Why?" "So we would see just one thing." "What?" His voice was dry and sharp. "What they built when no one was watching." The old space was quiet, cold, dead. For over 500 years, the remains of the Terra Vanguard fleet floated between stars burned, broken, silent. The galaxy had called it graveyard space. No one went near it, not even scavengers. But on this day, something changed. A signal pulsed out from the center of the debris field. It was short, sharp, ancient. It matched no known alien frequency. The signal was human. A patrol drone belonging to the Zarn Empire caught it by accident. Its systems, confused by the frequency, scanned deeper and picked up an old beacon something That should not have been active. Then a second signal echoed from another side of the debris field, and then another dot and another. One by one, the silent wrecks of Earth's old warships came back online. Their power cores, long thought destroyed, rumbled to life. Inside the control room of the Zarn drone, its AI unit sent out an emergency alert. Warning: humanity's ghost fleet is reactivating. The message was dismissed by Zarn High Command as a system error. But the next day, a Zarn cargo hauler went missing near the graveyard. 2 days later, a Vortic scavenger ship was found floating. All 87 crew members gone, their ship untouched, drifting silently. And then, a broadcast. Static. At first, then a human voice. Protocol Titanfall initiated. Humanity endures. The dead do not sleep forever. Panic spread across the Galactic Council. 5 centuries ago, the galaxy had united to wipe out Earth. The war was brutal. Billions had died. Earth had fallen. Or so they believed. They erased all records of the last human counterattack won, so devastating it killed entire star systems. But they never found the bodies of Earth's last war fleet until now. The Council sent in a recon squad of elite alien ships. They entered the graveyard. Only one came back. The captain, a Draxan war veteran, couldn't speak. His eyes were wide with terror. He kept mumbling one word: "They're watching." Satellites began disappearing near the zone. Star charts began to show strange movement, dead ships forming patterns. Formations. Lines of battle. But no one was inside them. At least, no one alive. One council scientist, Rhina, an old alien xenologist, gave a warning no one wanted to hear. They're not ghosts. They're AI. Last generation Terran war sentience. Battle minds. Machines trained by humans. And they remember. Everyone thought Earth's AI systems had gone offline after the final siege, but they were wrong. Humans had uploaded their war minds, entire battle strategies, memories, and commands into the ships themselves. Each vessel became a tomb and a mind. Now, those minds were awake. The galaxy began tracking movement. Wrecked ships drifting out of the graveyard. No life signs. No messages, but the movement was precise. Measured dot, and then came the moment the galaxy would never forget. A small Zarn moon outpost disappeared. A recorded flash, no sound. Then a ripple in space, nothing left. A transmission followed. The silent war begins. For Earth, for the forgotten, the dead fleet has orders. In the deep dark of space, a massive Terran dreadnought, ripped, scorched, and patched with debris, turned toward the galactic center. Its engines lit up, it moved. Behind it, hundreds of old Terran warships followed, all once declared destroyed. Now returning. The fleet was heading somewhere. And no one knew how to stop them. Because humanity's deadliest weapon was never their numbers. It was the fact that even in death, humans had prepared for war. And the galaxy had just triggered their return. The galaxy watched in silence. After 6 battles, after fleets burned and planets turned to dust, the Allied forces were certain of one thing: humanity could not win the 7th war. Their enemies had numbers, technology, and a full blockade. Around Earth's system, but something strange happened. The 7th Armada, made of 37 alien species, gathered near Jupiter. They moved fast. They were ready to strike Earth's moon bases. No one expected any resistance left. The humans had no ships left, no time to rebuild, and surely no defense systems online. Everyone thought the final blow would be simple. They were wrong. The alien fleet approached Earth's orbit, and just as they crossed the shadow of Mars, their sensors blinked. At first, they thought it was a malfunction. But soon, every flagship, every scout, every destroyer in the Armada saw it. Something massive. Something invisible. Now waking. A glowing arc of energy lit up near Earth. It stretched across space like a thin blue wall. Then it solidified and shimmered. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't a weapon. It was a shield. A planetary shield. The largest in recorded galactic history. And no one had ever seen it before. Commanders shouted. Orders were screamed across alien decks. Scanners confirmed the nightmare. This was no illusion. Earth was covered in a shield strong enough to stop meteors, fleets, and even star-level weapons. The commander of the Naltric Empire blinked in disbelief. This is impossible, he muttered. It was impossible. Earth had no power grid. That big, it had no time to build something like this. Not after 6 major invasions. Not while under full surveillance. Not without anyone knowing. And yet, here it was, alive, thrumming, glowing with power that didn't match anything in known physics. The shield had symbols on its slowly rotating glyphs in human and alien languages. It wasn't just defense. It was a message. We were patient. You were not. Now, understand why we never begged. Panic set in. Some alien captains wanted to fire anyway. Others hesitated. Then, before a single shot was fired, one of the Armada's command ships simply vanished. No explosion. No warning. It just blinked out of existence. Seconds later, another vanished, and then a third. Each ship gone within moments. Screams filled the channels. The Allied forces didn't know it yet, but Earth's shield was not just a wall. It was a net. A scanner. A gatekeeper. Any ship that tried to power up weapons while inside its detection radius disappeared. Not destroyed. Not attacked. Just erased. From time. From memory. From history. No return signals. No wreckage. They're just gone. A Soreth technician reported. The Armada began to break. Dozens of ships turned away. They started retreating, confused and afraid. Some drifted, frozen in place, unable to decide if they should attack or run. That's when Earth spoke. A single transmission on every frequency. You were warned. Over and over. But you saw our silence as weakness. You saw our patience as fear. Now you will see the cost of your arrogance. The voice was not angry. It was calm. Cold. Human. And then something even stranger happened. Earth opened its own portal. A rift in space tore open above Antarctica, glowing with deep blue light. From it, dozens of human ships came out. But these weren't like the old Earth fleets. These ships had no heat signature. No engine trails. No standard tech. They moved like shadows. And they didn't make a sound. Their designs were sharp, almost ancient. Yet their presence made every scanner glitch. These ships floated calmly in front of the shield. No weapons charged. No threats given. Still, fear spread faster than light. The galaxy had united against Earth. They had expected a desperate last stand. They expected pleas for mercy. They expected surrender. What they got was silence, and a defense system they couldn't understand. Back on the command bridge of the Tarshic cruiser, Admiral Nagath watched in shock. His claws shook. How did we miss this? He whispered. His science officer replied quietly. We didn't miss it, Admiral. They just never showed it. Until now. In a hidden bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains, General Samira Hayes stood before a massive screen. She said nothing. Her team waited for her orders. Let them watch, she finally said. Outside Earth, the shield pulsed again. A quiet hum. Filled space. All across the galaxy, the message spread. Humanity didn't ask for war, but now that it had come to their doorstep, they were done hiding, and the galaxy was about to learn why humans never begged. The stars were quiet that day, not from peace, but from fear. For centuries, the galaxy believed it had strength, unity, power, hundreds of alien empires, all bonded under the galactic concord. They believed humanity had been silenced, crushed, their fleets destroyed, their worlds turned cold. But they forgot something. Humans never begged, and humans never died. Quietly. The signal came from deep space. No coordinates, no voice. Just one sentence, repeating every 3 seconds across thousands of military channels. We remember. Ships scrambled, satellites scanned. Worlds went silent as leaders tried to understand what it meant. Then came the second message. We built. Hundreds of fleets were ordered to investigate. Star systems locked down their borders. Every species that once laughed at Earth now trembled, because Earth was dead. Its sun swallowed itself 100 years ago. Or so they thought, but deep beyond, the void, past the Veil Nebula, something massive emerged. A shape. No one had seen anything like it before. A ship, but bigger. A floating continent of steel. Its engines didn't burn. They roared. Its power core was like a small star. Its name etched into its hull in human script shined across the black. SKY-HSS Vindicta. And it was not a lone dot. Behind it came 6 more. Larger, silent. Their shapes blocked light from stars. Entire war fleets vanished, trying to get close. Humans had not just returned. They had rebuilt everything. Their weapons were not missiles. They were physics-warping weapons that bent space like paper. Their soldiers didn't wear armor. They wore mobile fortresses. Their AI talked like gods. The Galactic Concord tried to speak. No reply. They tried to send envoys. No return. Then the Vindicta spoke for the first time. A human woman's voice. Cold, calm, clear. You burned our home. You hunted our children. You laughed at our dead. We warned you we would return. And you didn't listen. One of the warlords, arrogant and still believing in his fleet's power, dared to speak back. You are outnumbered. The Vindicta responded without a pause. Count again. Then the stars blinked out. Not from night, but from thousands of human. Ships uncloaking across every front line. In one moment. All of the galaxy's united strength cracked. One by one, star bases exploded. Borders collapsed. Leaders screamed. And from the darkness came one final message. This is not war. This is remembrance. The humans didn't fight for control. They didn't take territory. They simply destroyed everything that tried to stand. In their way, every species watched helplessly as the galaxy stood still. And in that silence, they understood the truth. You can outnumber a species. You can even kill their world. But you should never ever unite the galaxy against a race that refuses to die. And now the humans had returned. Not for peace, not for mercy, but for memory. And memory had a sharp blade.